What's going on, draft fans? It's your boy DT back. The very first live episode of Draft Talk with DT. This is episode 6 in totality. So, thank you to everybody who has already tuned in to the first 5 episodes. Early quarterback rankings, top 50 wish list, reacting to Todd McShay's advice to some of these young quarterbacks, Ty Simpson included. But now we finally have a little bit of clarity as it pertains to the NFL draft, notably the quarterbacks. Ty Simpson is declaring for 2026 NFL draft, as Pete Thamel reported this morning. Ty Simpson projects as the number 3 quarterback in the upcoming draft per Mel Kiper Jr.'s rankings. He's behind Indiana's Fernando Mendoza and Oregon's Dante Moore, both of whom are still playing and have not declared. He also put out an article discussing the decision-making process, which includes his dad, Jason Simpson, who is a coach at UT Martin, expressing that Ty Simpson did not receive anything less than a first-round grade when talking to NFL general managers. Now, you can poke holes in that, right? Were they teams that were picking at the top of the draft, or were they teams that are picking in the mid to late portion of round 1? Are they talking to general managers who might not even have a first round pick? All those things are being floated out. The general managers, though, that they know that they spoke to gave him a first round grade, and the quote was, "Nobody said second round." So with all that information, Ty Simpson decided to forego his senior season at Alabama, come out into the draft as a one-year starter. His decision, that's completely fine. I'm not going to nitpick whether that is the right or wrong one. That is not what this show is about. This one is just discussing what the landscape of quarterback looks like now that he is declared, while we still wait for Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza seasons to end and their declaration process to begin. So I see a couple of you guys in the chat. Tank for Ty, shout out to you. I knew you were going to be in here. I appreciate you, friend. Bill M, appreciate you being here as well. Daniel Lake, find BJF and drag him in here. I think Kev is very busy at his current job, so it's going to be me flying solo on this episode of Draft Talk with DT, but I'm sure we will have guests on as the draft comes closer. Now, back to the first round grade thing. I felt like that was always going to be the crux of the decision, right? If Ty Simpson's response from these general managers was, hey, maybe you're a fringe top 50 pick, back end of round 2, possibly even early round 3, I don't think this decision is made where Ty Simpson declares. But the fact that they have on solid backing that they believe Ty is going to be a first round pick, that does change a lot of things. Thamel in the article also says that Simpson had very, very lucrative offers from at least 3, if not 4, major college programs to get Ty to try to return to school. I believe it was like Miami, Oregon, Tennessee. I think those were the 3 names that were floated out there as schools that wanted Ty Simpson earlier in the week. I'm not sure if those were ever confirmed by sources, but there were predominant college teams that wanted Ty Simpson back for his senior season. So he obviously comes out into the draft, and I have, from what I did earlier in the year, I have a little write-up of Ty Simpson, as well as my scouting report, which is sitting in front of me here. But my very first episode of Draft Talk with DT, I did my very early quarterback rankings. The number 3, quarterback 3, does not change if Dante Moore declares. Ty Simpson would be my number 3. That's pretty consistently been my theme. Mendoza at 1, then Dante Moore at 2, and then a slight bit of a gap, but then Ty Simpson sits comfortably at number 3. So just looking at some of his stats before we dive into the film, 1-year starter as a junior, he's 6'2", 208 pounds, former 5-star recruit. That number of 11 starts, that's inaccurate. That doesn't include the 4 games that happened after I made this slideshow presentation. So the total number of starts is 15 games for Ty Simpson. His stats for 2025, 63.9% completions, 3,948 passing yards, 28 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, and he also adds 2 rushing touchdowns to that total. So a 30-5 touchdown to interception ratio in totality when you include the rushing. It was only 93 or 95 rushing yards on the season, so I don't think he offers a ton with his legs, but I also think his legs are important in the evaluation, right? So strengths and weaknesses before we dive into the tape. I think his arm strength is not phenomenal, but it's up there, right? I think it's actually better than Fernando Mendoza's, on par with a guy like Dante Moore. Some of the games that I watched in 2025, South Carolina, he threw a 62-yard air yards pass. It was dropped by the receiver, which is a very common theme in Alabama this year. Specifically, the supporting cast for Ty Simpson wasn't necessarily what Alabama is used to putting out on the field, right? People think Alabama and it's like top 3 team in the country. They're bulldozing all their opponents. Of the last few years, that's not really been the case with Alabama. They've kind of been a middle of the pack type playoff team. I believe they were the 9th seed this past bracket. But I do think there is an element of Ty Simpson with the arm strength, maybe not necessarily arm talent, is the way that I would approach this with Ty Simpson. Another strength of his is poise, and we'll see a couple clips of the film. He stands in the pocket, he delivers, he's very good at facing pressure. Now, obviously, all quarterbacks, both in the college and pro levels, struggle with pressure. I think that's a very consistent common theme, which is nothing to disqualify him, right, from being a first-round pick because he doesn't handle pressure great. But I actually think Ty Simpson is one of the better quarterbacks at handling pressure. We'll get into the top 3 once they all declare officially, but there are traits, right? If you broke it down into the 10 traits: arm strength, size, pocket presence, mobility, accuracy, poise, mechanics, release, anticipation, decision-making, there's probably at least 2 categories where I can see Ty Simpson not necessarily having that bona fide, definite, I'm the best at this trait, but teams will gravitate towards Ty Simpson and feel like he has certain traits better than Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. So poise certainly there with Ty Simpson, and then escapability. Again, it's not correlating with mobility, right? It's not like Lamar Jackson, but when he does face pressure, how does he handle it with both his arms, his brain, and his legs, right? I think that's all important, how all 3 of those things react to pressure. His escapability is very good. I think and we'll see a clip of it, he's able to get outside of the pocket, improvise a little bit, keep his eyes downfield while looking to scramble, but not become a runner, right? I think that's the important part here with Ty Simpson. And overall, I mean, on a positive side of it, and many people, they didn't necessarily watch this player coming out of college because Jets fans specifically, we already had a quarterback in place in Sam Darnold this year. But I think in a lot of the positive ways, Ty Simpson reminds me of Duke Daniel Jones. And I understand Daniel Jones doesn't necessarily give you the best taste in your mouth now from what he is as an NFL player. Maybe this season kind of rebounds his stock with what he was able to do with the Colts and everything before the ACL injury. But I do think Ty Simpson gives you an element of that Daniel Jones stuff in a positive way, where it comes to not a ton of mobility, but enough to get out of the pocket and make things happen, as well as the improvisation and the arm strength. Now, flipping over to the, needs work, I don't want to necessarily call them weaknesses. I feel like me as an evaluator, I've only been doing this since the 2019 season. I hate to just say, oh, that's a weakness that's never going to translate to the NFL. If there is a glaring problem in somebody's game, when I watch it on film, I will consider it more of a weakness, but I try to lean more towards the needs work category, because there are certainly times where a trait doesn't look fantastic for a prospect on film in college, but when they get to the NFL, a little bit more time on task, some good coaching, and they can get those best parts out of him. So in the needs work category, I have deep accuracy. Sometimes the ball gets a little lost on him when it's going 30, 40 plus yards down the field. And again, that's pretty normal for a lot of quarterbacks, especially coming out of college. I don't want to say it's not going to disqualify him for not having the most perfect deep ball accuracy. But when you do compare it to a guy like Fernando Mendoza, right, I feel like he's always putting it in the right spot. It's an easy, right in the breadbasket, upfield shoulder. The guy can take off and run more often with Fernando Mendoza. Neither of them are perfect, but I do think Mendoza offers a little bit more than that than Ty Simpson does. So that would be the first critique of needs work. And the second one would just be time on task. 15 started games is not really a ton. I believe in the past 10 years, there's only been 3 instances where a quarterback was drafted as highly as Ty Simpson is projected to possibly go with less than 15 starts. So you really have to understand that this is not a finished product necessarily in Ty Simpson when he comes into the NFL. There's definitely going to be a maturation process, right? So to speak, that you get him in the right system, you get him with some good coaches, you get a solid to above average supporting cast around him. And I do think that Ty Simpson can be a quality add for a team that needs a quarterback this offseason. That being said, I also think it is in the best interest for Ty Simpson to sit at least 8 to 16 games. That has been the case when I watched Mendoza and Moore and Simpson in early October. I think I did my first round of film reviews on these guys, the early season stuff, and a lot has changed for all 3 quarterbacks. But I do think you will need to at least try to sit Ty Simpson for 8 to 16 games. That's not to say he's a bust or a waste of a pick, right? I think the way college football is played now versus what it was even 5 years ago, like before all this NIL and transfer portal nonsense, and it's basically pay to win in college is the simplest way to play it. Anybody knows, like video game players like Madden or Call of Duty, Fortnite, whatever it is, it's all pay to win. You get the base game and then you pay for the add-ons to help you get there. That's kind of what college is becoming. You have your NIL money, you have your sponsorship money, you get the quarterback in, he leaves for the NFL or he transfers out instead of trying to develop another guy who might be on your roster, which Ty Simpson did, by the way. I think a lot of teams just go to pay the next quarterback and let's go win some games, right? Ty Simpson is the rare case where he sat at Alabama behind Jalen Milroe, and I believe he sat behind the quarterback that came out before Jalen, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, he committed to Alabama. He stayed the course. Nick Saban told him it'd be worth the ride if he was just willing to wait it out. He did. He I guess, paid his dues, right, to the Crimson Tide, and he was able to come in and lead a pretty good year for Alabama. Obviously, they fell short in the playoffs. So we'll see in terms of draft process where he ends up in the rankings, right? I think quarterback 3 is probably the lowest he'll go, but it's not necessarily the highest he'll go. There are players, there are executives out there that I'm sure will like Ty Simpson above maybe a Dante Moore or maybe even above a Fernando Mendoza. I think that's the whole point of this quarterback class in 2026 is there is, I don't want to say so much unknown, but enough unknown in this whole process that helps the Jets or any team at the top of the draft that needs a quarterback, because the more names that are in the ring, the more names that you can debate and you can nitpick their games. And maybe the Raiders find a flaw with Fernando Mendoza here and they really don't like him and they end up taking Dante Moore. And then Fernando Mendoza goes to the Jets at number 2, and then Ty Simpson goes maybe to the Cardinals or the Browns inside that top 5 or 6. Or it can be completely flipped. Ty Simpson could be number 1 to the Raiders. I don't think that's necessarily likely considering everything Tom Brady has said about Fernando Mendoza and his, affiliation with the Raiders, obviously. But there is just too much unknown, too much gray area right now that I think Ty Simpson being the first official name to enter the ring, probably not the last, right? Mendoza's probably going to declare, and Dante Moore probably 50-50, maybe 55-45. He's leaning to come out into the NFL draft. However it shakes out, more quarterbacks in the process, the better for the Jets or any quarterback needy team. One thing I will say, maybe a bit selfishly or just trying to get more data collected on Ty Simpson, truthfully, the best thing I think Ty Simpson could do right now that he has declared for the NFL draft is take an invite to the Senior Bowl. If he has one waiting out there from the Panini Senior Bowl, you certainly have to go do it. This is one of the easiest ways for you to rebound any stock that it might have dipped off after the October football games on his schedule. You go down to the Senior Bowl right now, the quarterbacks is not an inspiring group of quarterbacks, right? You have Luke Altmaier from Illinois. You have Cole Payton. You have Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. If people care about him, I'm not really a big Pavia fan, but I do think that would be in his best interest, similar to a Jackson Dart, right? Jackson was a second or third round pick entering that week in Mobile. He comes in, nobody really lights the world on fire last year in Mobile, but Jackson Dart, he was able to be coached up. He had a bad first day. A lot of the quarterbacks had a bad first day, even like getting under center, holding the ball. But by the end of the week, Jackson Dart was very coached up, and he was able to run the schemes and systems and concepts that the coaching staff was putting in front of him. So I do think that Ty Simpson can follow that path and certainly help elevate his stock and or at least maintain it as a mid to late first round pick. Now, given that he was told by all these general managers, however many they talked to, that he is a first round pick, maybe he doesn't do that. He just rests on his film from the 2025 season, and he doesn't declare. Our guy Matthew Smith in the chat, I appreciate you. He says Ty Simpson isn't a senior. Yes, I believe, was it 2022 or 2023? I forget. It was either my first or second year down there in Mobile where they changed it and they allowed underclassmen to, if they declared early, they allowed them to get underclassmen invites to the Senior Bowl. And that was to help, the talent pool, because all of the eligibility and things of that nature were getting very hairy at the time, especially coming out of the COVID seasons. We're a little bit more further from that now, being in 2025, but I still think that the rule is in place. So yeah, underclassmen are definitely allowed. I don't know if there's like a cap, like, only 20 or 30 players are able to get those invites from underclassmen. But yeah, once the seniors get their invites, they will definitely try to sprinkle in some underclassmen. And I think that's the perfect opportunity for a guy like Ty Simpson to get his get more exposure, right, to the NFL decision makers, to the executives, scouts, anybody that could have a say, I guess, right, in Ty Simpson's draft stock. I think, and again, it's a little selfish because I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks and I want to see him in person. I think that anytime you get the chance to see any of these quarterbacks in person, you feel differently about them, whether it's at the college level or the pro level, even in a practice setting like this. But also, I might be able to even talk to Ty Simpson between practices, right? We get to go down on the field and ask questions. I'm sure if a Ty Simpson level prospect was in Mobile, all microphones, cameras, and media members will be crowded around him every single between practice periods. So it might be a little hard to get in a question for Ty Simpson, but they have the media day where you can go up and go from podium to podium and talk to these players too. So there's definitely a world where Ty Simpson could help his draft stock in Mobile, and maybe the rib injury he suffered in the game against Indiana does hamper that and allows him, or not allows him, but disallows him to play in the Senior Bowl because he's not healthy. But even if you go down there and just do the interview portion of the week, I think it would help his draft stock a lot. You're able to talk to guys one-on-one in private settings, not necessarily like a combine or a pro day, but the preliminary stuff, right? It's the first part of the football off season where every team has representatives and high up coaches, front office members, GMs, owners. A lot of them are all in the same place for the first time in Mobile. So a lot is going to come out news related, right? This team loves that guy and this team hates this guy. But I think from a player perspective, that's one of the best times to get in front of a good group of eyes to really help your draft stock. Matthew says it should only be seniors now. Maybe that's the case. I don't think they changed the rule back from when they started it a couple years ago. But yeah, I think there's a case to be made that you could go back to only having seniors in the process instead of juniors as well. Grenade says, if you see him in person, can you drop that boy some protein powder or something. He needs to add a couple pounds. Yeah, 6'2", 208. I wouldn't say he's, a compact quarterback by any means. He's actually like leaning on the small side. I think Dante Moore is just over 200 pounds at 6'3". So there's probably an element of both those guys needing to bulk up a little bit, right? So yeah, if I could slip some protein powder in his Gatorade bottle, I would certainly try to do that. Cisco in the chat, I appreciate you. He says, "Yo, DT, what's up, man? Thanks for joining, everybody. Again, thank you all for joining. I see 70 people in the room on YouTube. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. We're going to be sprinkling in a lot more live content, both draft and regular DTereman football show related. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before we get to the film, I will turn it over to the questions to see if I missed anything in the chat. Bill M says, Saban didn't think this Alabama team was indicative of Alabama football on Twitter. Yeah, it is interesting to listen to a guy like Saban talk about his former team. He took them every step of the way in the playoff process. I think he just believes in his guys. But yeah, it's definitely not Alabama like we're used to seeing. Peg and Artie, what's up, man? I appreciate you. And Peg as well joining in the chat. Thank you guys for joining. And I appreciate your patience, by the way. I know we talked offline a little bit. I appreciate your patience. Tank for Ty, our resident Ty Simpson fan club president. He says, very excited for people to see how good he is. Yeah, he certainly has a lot of things that you can like. Like I said, I liken him to Duke Daniel Jones. So there's an element of it where if he can be that elevator style quarterback where he's able to lift the production of those around him, maybe there's a really, really strong path for him to have success in the NFL. Tank for Ty says he carried Bama this year. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly, when you watch the film, it certainly looks that way. Bill M says, why would Brady not draft Mendoza? I mean, I don't think Brady has the majority of the say in Las Vegas right now. But again, him and Spytech have a relationship from Tampa Bay. They used to watch film together all the time. I'm sure they still, stay close in that regard of, hey, we're going to start watching some of these prospects and I'll give you my notes. You share your notes with me and we'll collab and see what guy looks like the right prospect for us. And everything Brady has said publicly about Mendoza would make him the betting odds favorite to be the pick for the Raiders. Like, I don't see them trading out. I don't see them. Maybe they try to swindle the Jets. I was asked that question. Do they try to swindle the Jets into trading up one spot, taking the quarterback that Vegas didn't want, and then Vegas gets more draft capital and the second overall pick? I mean, sure. But then Darren Muji could also reverse psychology that whole thing and say, I really love Fernando Mendoza. Please don't take him. And then he takes him, and then Dante Moore was the guy all along. So, like, there's going to be a lot of discussion at that top pick. But, yeah, Brady, it seems like, is falling in love very quickly with Fernando. See, this is where I'll push back, and we'll get into the film in a second. Tank for Ty. Jets need to draft Simpson at 2. I mean, I don't want to say that there's not a world that this happens. There is certainly a world. You know my philosophy by now, guys. It's not 0%. It's not 100%. Nothing is ever guaranteed or should be completely ruled out in the NFL. If Dante Moore does not declare, it's going to push Ty Simpson naturally up the board because of desperation. So, yeah, there's a world where I could see it happening. I could see the Jets sitting at 2, not liking Ty Simpson and trading out of that pick, getting a haul of picks and trying to get maybe a second or third round guy in 2026 to pair with their inevitable veteran that I think they have to get to create a buffer between the rookie having to start right away. So I'm not going to say there's a no world, but I don't think that this would be the most realistic, right, to say that he would go at number 2. Cisco says TB12 runs the Raiders. He does not really. He has say, he has input, but this isn't even like Matt Ryan. He was hired as the president of football ops or whatever the title is in Atlanta. And he immediately stops working at CBS to devote his entire time to this. Tom Brady is still in the booth for Fox on a lucrative deal. It's almost like a part-time gig for him to be part of the Raiders front office in a sense. So I don't know if he runs it as much as we would think from the outside perspective. I still think there is a collective brain trust there that he is certainly a part of. But like, if it's him, Al Davis, and John Spytek, what is the percentage of say that he's, maybe like a 25% voice in that room? Spytek is a 70%, and then Al Davis just kind of sits in the corner and tries to look for a better barber. Like, I don't know, like maybe that's how those meetings go. I just don't think Tom Brady runs the whole thing. Daniel Lake with a question, and then I promise we will get to the film. It's only 5 plays, but we will get to the film on Ty Simpson versus Oklahoma. I'm not going to do Ty Simpson versus Indiana tonight because he went 12 of 16 for 67 yards passing, suffered a broken rib injury, and didn't have the best game, ended up having to come out. So I don't really think it's best to just pull a bunch of clips from that game. So I'm going back to his last full game against Oklahoma. But Daniel says, tank for Ty. What are the odds of him being there at 16? I'll answer that one. I think there is a good chance he's there at 16, right? We don't know who these general managers are that gave Ty Simpson the first round grade, right? Is it a team like, I don't know, the Baltimore Ravens, right, who missed the playoffs and are picking 18, 19, 20, right, in that range? Or I guess not 19 or 20, but 17 or 18 in that range. Is it a team like that? Is it a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are in the playoffs currently, going to pick in like the 20s, the early 20s if they get eliminated this weekend? Like, is it teams like that are giving him the first round grade? So there's definitely a world where he's available at 16, and I think that's going to comfortably be the range where I would project him to go. If you have to trade up a little bit for him to get to like 11 or 12, I feel like it's also worth it. I wouldn't say, oh, if you're going to take him at 16, you got to take him at 2. I think that's just too much of a gap. Whereas like if you were picking at 2 and let's say 8, yeah, you don't get cute and you take Ty Simpson at 2 and then you take the guy or best player available or whatever approach you want at number 8. I don't think you do that to make the jump from 16 to 2 with a guy like Ty Simpson. So, but I do think there's a strong possibility he's there at 16. Boy Green in the house. What's up, BG? I appreciate you, man. He says, DTereman, sorry, just got here, but does Ty Simpson's availability suddenly increase the value of our 33rd overall pick? Yeah, I think that's definitely the floor side of Ty Simpson's draft stock. He got the 4 or however many general managers told him first round grades, right? That's all well and good. If there's a scenario where Ty Simpson does not hear his name called and he's waiting in that green room for the entirety of night 1, you have that, okay, let's go regroup in our war room, adjust our boards from what happened in round 1, go get ready for round 2 the next night. If Ty Simpson is still available, let's just say hypothetically to, the best thing that would help the Jets. They take Dante Moore. They take whoever it is at 16. We'll say Carnell Tate. Then Ty Simpson's on the board at 33. After a whole day of teams deliberating and saying, hey, these are the new rankings of how we're going to look at round 2, that pick, that 33rd pick becomes so valuable. Obviously, a lot of times teams trade for the 32nd pick to get that fifth-year option on a guy, right? The Lamar Jackson model with the Ravens a couple years back. But if he makes it out of round 1, like Tyler Shuck, right? We'll call this the new Shuck rule. Move over, BJF. I'm making a new Shuck rule. If there is a guy like Simpson at 33, teams will call and try to trade up. So that is definitely a good point that you brought up there, BG, that they could certainly benefit from having Ty Simpson on the board there at 33, assuming they've already, figured out who their quarterback is going to be, whether it's the pro market or the NFL market. BG with a follow-up. He says, hey, Dylan, that's a nice Jets tree behind you. Where are you going to put a tree that big? This tree is actually pretty small, in my opinion. There's a third part of this, BG. It's a 3-piece fake tree, and the bottom third is still in the closet. I took the middle piece and the top piece and created this Christmas tree here. But yeah, it's pretty Jetsed out. You got Joe Namath front and center because obviously you need Joe Namath. You got the Jets football here. I think there's a MetLife Stadium somewhere in there. If you guys want a nice HVAC system ornament of MetLife Stadium, that's certainly on there. There's just a bunch of athletic figurines. Muhammad Ali is on there. Oh, shoot. You might actually like this, BG. Let me take this one off. See if I can get it. I know BG will like this one. We got a Golden Domer Joe Montana right there for you, BG. So appreciate you tuning in, and I like that you comment on the Christmas tree. It's going to get packed up and put away before I leave for Mobile, I promise. I'm not one of those heathens that keep their Christmas tree out all year, but appreciate you, BG, and I thought you'd like the Montana Golden Domer. All right, a couple more, and then I promise we are getting to the film, guys. And not asking you guys for super chats. You know me, that's not my gig. I certainly appreciate any super chats that come in. I will just tell you that if you are watching this live, you are lucky because you will get the full unedited version of this in about 3 or 4 days' time. YouTube's going to hit me with a huge global block for playing these 5 clips of Ty Simpson. So I certainly appreciate all the help because this video will get demonetized almost immediately. I would say by the time the college football playoffs kick off tomorrow, they might even hit me with it. So not asking for any super chats, never do, but they would certainly be appreciated. Yeah, BG's losing his mind now, Joe Montana. Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got. Cisco, I'm going to steal your idea and use my helmet as a star for the tree. Yeah, this is actually a long tradition for me, and I was surprised. My ex-wife even, was on board with it. I think she might have even come up with the idea back in like 2016, 2017. I had that little Jets football helmet, and I was like, what do we do with this? It just kind of sits here and it looks nice or whatever. And she's like, let's put it on the tree. We don't do the angel or the star. So yeah, it was definitely a cool idea. And I love having the little topper. It fits perfectly. I used to have lights that went up and around in it, but I don't have them anymore. So definitely a cool, if you don't do the angel or star thing for Christmas. Daniel Lake, don't be snitching to Kev now. Come on, man. We can both have Shug rules. All right. Let's see what else we got. You also have this ornament? That's crazy. A customer actually gave it to me in New Jersey. Shout out Donna. We love her. We did some work in her bathroom, and she gave me like 2-3 boxes worth of those ornaments. All right. That's enough rambling. I'm glad everybody's in here answering questions or asking questions for me to answer. But we are going to get into the film. As I promised, I have 5 plays of Ty Simpson versus Oklahoma. I'm also going to do it this way and put my face all the way down here so you can still see me. Again, just trying to find ways to not get this video taken down by YouTube, at least keep it up. And if I have to edit out some parts to appease the people at Mr. YouTube or Big YouTube, then that's fine. So first play of the Oklahoma game for Ty Simpson. He's going to evade pressure. He's got a good improv throw moving to his left. And unfortunately, his wide receiver just falls. So we'll play it through, and then we'll go back in and draw it up. Starts under center. He checks, gets to empty, confuses Oklahoma's defense. You see him scrambling around, making their adjustments. Looks like they're about to bring a 6th man. They end up only bringing 4, but they get the pressure. Simpson moving to his left, tries to target Ryan Williams, and unfortunately, he just falls. So we'll slow it back to the point of the snap. Looks like a 6-man front from Oklahoma. Looks like 38. Is he coming? Is he going? We don't know. Protection. Looks like a 4-man slide from the left guard to the right tackle. They bring 4. Oklahoma does a stunt. Right, number 0 occupies the center, and then I believe that's 65 comes looping around through the A-gap. Simpson sees it. He probably could throw hot to this flashing wide receiver coming from the left side of your screen here, but 38 does a very good job of jumping in front of the potential throwing lane here. So Simpson looks like he wants to do it, sees the flash of color right in front of him, tucks the ball, manages to get out of the pocket, again, using his escapability, not necessarily his mobility, gets out of the pocket. Receivers are on a scramble drill. Ryan Williams does a good job of turning around to locate where Ty Simpson is. And then just unfortunately, as Simpson goes to release it, Williams falls down on the ground, incomplete. So obviously it's a net negative for Ty Simpson because it's an incomplete pass on the stat sheet, but the film will show you this is a pretty positive play if you're Ty Simpson, right? Looks off to the right, flash, guy jumps in the throwing lane, let's get out, let's make a play. Unfortunately, Ryan Williams just falls over. So good play from Ty Simpson, bad play from the supporting cast. Here we have ball placement on China. I'm not exactly sure this is a definite China concept, but it basically just tells you the number 3 to the top is going to run a corner route. So I'll draw it up real quick before we get into it. They motion Jeremy Bernard out of the backfield to the number 1 spot. If you wanted to watch Jeremy Bernard, there will be a link at the end of this video for his film breakdown, which you can also see more of Ty Simpson there. Looks like they're going to run some sort of like, I don't want to call it like stick, but they're basically just trying to occupy those 2 defenders, and they're going to leave this number 3 one-on-one with that safety on the corner route. Play it through. Falling away as well on the throw. Ty Simpson does a good job putting it on him. I think because he starts drifting away from the pressure, it's not the perfect throw. But I do think it's important to note that he was able to make this throw off his back foot to the open receiver. Right? Again, they look like a stunt from the second level, and it's behind the receiver, right? Behind number 17. Whereas if it was on his upfield shoulder, maybe he's still running and he can get into the end zone. But we'll pull it back here so you can see his footwork. 38 crashes across the center's face. 56 and 10. A D-line and a linebacker type comes swooping in. They do a great job of picking up the protection, right? I think if there's anything to nitpick on this play is instead of drifting off that hash mark this far for Ty, maybe you just reset and hitch right there. And then you get all your cleats in the ground, you throw it, you get all that torque, everything behind it. And instead of throwing it like this, which is like a lofted kind of off his back foot, you get a much better product, which would put it on his right shoulder instead of low on his left hip. So again, now this is a positive in the stat sheet for Ty Simpson as it's a big gain. But when you break it down on the film, it's not necessarily the plus play that it would look like on the box score. Still a great play, nonetheless, from Ty Simpson. Here we have anticipation and accuracy on a tight end seam. We'll play it through, then draw it up. Motion the tight end over to a 3-by-1. Back comes out a pistol. Motion Jeremy Bernard across 2-by-2. 4-man pressure. Keying in on that second level defender, that tight end or that linebacker type, right? And he's going to hit the tight end in the seam. So what you got here is if I can get my pen to work, you're going to run the seam, and you're going to have like an angle in behind it by the running back. The player that you're keying in on is this linebacker type. If this linebacker cheats towards the tight end or towards the tight end running the seam, if he backs out, you hit the running back. If he moves forward, you hit the tight end type. All Ty Simpson is doing is reading that linebacker. So boom, he immediately widens. But his eyes, Ty Simpson is watching the linebacker who is watching the running back. And he notices this, and right here, You can see Ty is at the back of his drop. The tight end is even about to be leaving with the linebacker. Now he's behind the linebacker, and he does not have eyes on the tight end anymore because he's occupied on that running back. Simpson's throwing as soon as the tight end gets past the linebacker. Linebacker's no longer looking. He puts it right on time. Good, I guess, not necessarily anticipation, but good diagnosis of the play. We'll see it from the back angle. I believe we're reading number 10 in this situation. Here comes Bernard motioning across to a 2x2. Yeah, so number 10. Ty Simpson is watching the linebacker, and the linebacker is trying to decide whether he's watching the running back or the tight end. As soon as the linebacker makes his decision, boom, right here. He's widening to try to get in the way of the tight end, but he's also keying in on the running back. So as soon as the tight end gets past, right here, see that right arm of number 10, the linebacker, he's kind of feeling for him, trying to get him off his stem. The running back is on the angle route underneath. Ty Simpson, as soon as he gets past him, the tight end turns. You can barely see the tight end right there in the bottom right corner of the screen. And I apologize, I can't make this any bigger for you guys watching. So the tight end immediately turns because he knows that if he got past that second level defender, Ty Simpson's got to put it right on him. And he does. Puts it right on the tight end, behind the linebacker, in front of the safety. Great throw from Ty Simpson. One of the best I saw him make in this game. Now we have red zone, short accuracy touchdown on spot. Spot is just a three-man concept as they shift out to a 3x2 empty set. We're looking at the top of the screen with the 3 side, that bunch side. The number 3 release is in the flat. Number 1 is on like a bit of a hook or a snag. And then the number 2 runs a corner. He puts it right on. This guy's, I believe, a true freshman or a redshirt freshman, the guy who catches the pass. And he does a great job finishing with physicality in the end zone. So what you get here, spot concept, pretty basic concept. The Jets ran it quite a lot, probably because their quarterback situation wasn't the best this year. But we have a flat route by the number 3. The number 1 is running a hook or a sit, and then the number 2 is running an angle. You can make the case playing with the clicker, playing armchair quarterback the next day that he can hit the number 2 on the corner route because the safety gives him inside leverage and he doesn't he's running an outbreaking route against inside leverage. So you could definitely have said he could put it up over the top and hit that guy as well. But having 2 guys open on a play and you take the first read, right? Again, I'm not in the meeting room with these guys, but I believe how you would read spot is you go 1 to the hook or the sit, you go 2 to the corner, and then 3 or the check down is over here in the flat. That's how I believe you would read it, kind of going inside out. Again, maybe they ask him to read the flat first, and maybe that's a hot throw if the coverage type is right. But I believe that's how you're supposed to read it out. We'll play it through one more time. Yeah, so right here, I'll back it up right there. As Simpson's getting to the back of his drop, the safety right here, you have good numbers, right? Because this defender here is blitzing off the left side. So you only have 1, 2 Oklahoma defenders, and you have 1, 2, 3 Alabama receivers. So the numbers always dictate where to go. It's such a cliche or like basic math problem, football. That's really all it is, where you look at the bottom of the field, right? If you just split this in half, right? You have, we'll call it 2/3. As my pen decides to not work, we got 2/3. Again, this dang pen. 2/3. Whereas down here at the bottom of the field, you have 3/3. Numbers tell you to go to the top of the screen, and that's exactly what happens. You get two guys open for touchdowns. Sure, he goes to the harder one, with making the guy go 6 yards and 3 broken tackles later, 4 broken tackles later. But again, good scheme, good reading it out by Ty Simpson. Finds the open guy on his first read, gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Excellent play here by the freshman. Don't remember his name, but he's a freshman. So we have time to learn his name, folks. All right, the final one here. Good accuracy on deep play action dig. So Simpson's going to get to the back of his drop. He's going to look to the short side of the field here, and he's going to come all the way back to the backside dig, hit his guy, good separation. We'll play it through and then draw it up. Play action, get the flat in the corner to the top, and then you have a shallow crosser and a dig on the backside. So we'll draw it up here. I believe it's the fullback in the flat. Yep, fullback in the flat, running back blocking. So what you basically have is the fullback gets out into the flat. This tight end type is going towards the corner on the outbreaking route, the sail route. You have your running back in to protect. And then on the backside, you have Bernard running a crosser. And then you have this backside dig. I believe this is from the number 1. I don't know his name. I don't believe he's draft eligible, so that's why I don't know his name. So it's basically, I guess this is what you would call a full progression, right? He's going to look to his left, and he's going to say, okay, do I have the 1? Do I have the 2? Do I have the 3? Do I have to come all the way back to the 4? I think he does a good job of it. Now, again, you could argue that this right here, the flat and the corner, is all the first read. And then you have the second read on the shallow, and then the third read on the dig. You can argue that too. So either way, he's getting through his progression, reading from left to right on the field and making good decisions. So here we go. Back of his drop, boom. He has the numbers, right? The flat and the corner, but he doesn't have great leverage, right? That tight end type doesn't win well. And maybe you could argue that Ty Simpson could float this ball, like red line it, kind of, right? Mike Williams fans, shout out. Maybe you red line it up here to the tight end and loft it over that safety's head. But Ty does a great job. Knows he has the protection. This is a perfect pocket. Gets to his backside read. Jeremy Bernard right here in the middle. Obviously, the ref is doing a great job in sticky Darrelle Revis type coverage, but the DB is also trailing right on his hip. So then you have to get to the backside dig, and whoever number 1 is, I don't know his name, I'm sorry, on Alabama's roster, he does a great job winning right here against this DB type who's got his butt to the sideline. Might look like cover 3 potentially. Maybe it's a version of cover 1 where this guy's actually in man, and this receiver type is just able to win with separation. Drives through his throw. Great first down. And we'll see it from the back angle here. Under center, play action. Boom. I want to stop right there. You see him get to the back of his drop, right? You start with him under center on the inside hash, right? Gets play action. Now he's on the hash line, turns around to get into his progression, and he knows he's got to somewhat dovetail his his backdrop, his footwork, right? To get to that left side of the field, he gets everybody kind of flowing that way. Look, you see number 10 flowing this way, 38's flowing this way, 5 is flowing this way while looking in the backfield, and obviously this guy is trying to trail with his man as well. So you get 4 defenders flowing to our right, our right. Cardinal directions are hard. And then you have Jeremy Bernard flashing across the screen here, but he's going to be double covered by the ref and the cornerback in trail coverage. So then, boom, he snaps. Now Ty Simpson is looking straight at Jeremy Bernard. Like, it's clear as day. I know the film is grainy, but you can see the stripe on his helmet that he's looking this way. Doesn't want to throw it because obviously the ref is right in his way and it's tight coverage. Stays with his read and does a great job of putting it on number 1. He was the number 1 on that side of the field, but he is also number 1 in jersey number. So those are the 5 plays I have for Alabama. Well, Ty Simpson specifically versus Oklahoma. I have other games of film from Ty Simpson, both on the channel and ready to be broken down more. I believe it was South Carolina, Oklahoma, the very first time they played, and one other game that I watched the first time through. And then I watched Oklahoma and Indiana, both his college football playoff games. So definitely impressed with Ty Simpson. Not necessarily the wow factor, right? But I think he's a very smart player. He knows where to go with the ball. He doesn't panic. He doesn't get happy feet a ton, right? There was that one play where he threw off his back foot where it wasn't, NFL perfect footwork or whatever. But I do think there is an element of his mental game, the decision-making, the football IQ, being the son of a coach, that is certainly going to help Ty Simpson in the draft process, as well as translating some of his best traits to the NFL. With that being said, I am at the 50-minute mark, so I will tune back into your questions in the chat. I see 115 of you guys in the room. That is certainly amazing. That might be one of my highest amounts in the room, so I appreciate every single one of you. Please hit the like button on your way in. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. We're closing in on 1,300. I believe we're in the 1,270 subscriber range, so we're less than 40 away. I believe even less than 30 away from 1,300, but we are on the road to 2K subs. I'm trying to get my money up so that when we get to 2,000 subs, I can do some kind of giveaway, because you guys are just incredible in the chat. All the engagement, really, since I started my channel in May, has just been incredible. So I want to find a way to give back to you guys in some form or fashion. So I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top of the chat. When I first started, I saw one of my favorite people in here, so I'm going to jump him to the front of the line. Our guy, Alan, he says, no thanks on a 23-year-old with 15 starts. I'm totally with you, man. I'm not saying I'm completely out on Ty Simpson, though, but that is one of the red flags, is the lack of game experience. But if you sold me on, we're going to go get Kirk Cousins for the Jets, we're going to go get a mid-tier, I'm not saying Spencer Rattler, but a Spencer Rattler type, a young veteran QB2, and then we're going to have Ty Simpson as the QB3, all for it. I am all for that. Alan follows up, Ty will be overselected in round 1. Rams would be perfect for him. Well, when you say overselected, I assume you mean a team is going to have to or is going to reach on Ty Simpson. Maybe that is the case. I think the Rams with Sean McVay would be a great place for him to excel. I don't think that he would be the starter outright there in Los Angeles right away, but you could certainly see the path where a Sean McVay type coach around a guy like Ty Simpson certainly helps the development. We have another guy, FP Strupa, says, I like the Ty to LA scenario. Rams let him sit behind Stafford for a year. If Stafford doesn't retire and they don't try to go after like an Aaron Rodgers type or, Joe Burrow type, then maybe, yeah, if they run it back with Stafford. But I think that Stafford, if they go far or potentially win it all, I think Stafford rides off into the sunset and then they go get another veteran quarterback. I don't think they restart the cycle in this window that they have. But again, anything's possible. I'm not going to rule it out. I think we'd be a fool 3 days into the offseason to rule out a scenario from happening. Bill M, I appreciate you put a DT watermark. I have the one up here, but it doesn't affect the film. So I do have to maybe edit the video. I appreciate you, Bill. Thank you. Anything to get over on Mr. Tube, right? Because golly, it's crazy how restrictive they are. They were never like this. Maybe it's because I'm the content guy now that they want to just flag everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that highly of my content to think that I'm the reason, but it is getting annoying that they're cracking down so hard on this. Rock Nest Monster, sweet. I'm not too late. No, you're not too late. And the best part about it is it's going to sit up there forever. You can always go back and watch, but there might be, if you watch this by Saturday, there might be a lot of clips that are taken out and edited out because YouTube is so unruly. Oh man, Tank for Ty is going to reach euphoria from this film. I tried to do a good job of finding both good and bad plays from Ty Simpson. I think the other film dive I believe that's like 15 plays. So it might be even more because the last clip that I had saved of Ty Simpson was play 22. So there's a chance I did a larger film dive. I know it's bigger than 5 plays. I did earlier, I want to say late October, early November of Ty Simpson, back when the film was A+ and he was in the Heisman contention. Let's see. Everybody's arguing over their quarterbacks. This is exactly what we like to see in the offseason. The corpse of the 2025 season is still warm, and we are already arguing over who is going to be our quarterback. I like this. Cisco, is this a family-friendly show? I try to make it a family-friendly show. Unfortunately, I have a tendency to rattle curse words out sometimes, but I'm not going to sit up here and F this, F that. Yes, if I'm animated, I'll say a curse word, but no, for the most part, this is a family-friendly show, and I try not to curse. Oh, we got a legend in the chat, Johnny Boy from Jets Worldwide, wide. He says, DT, what's good, bro? Ham. I appreciate you, Johnny. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. You and Snowball keep killing it. I hope you're feeling a lot better. I know you got to go home to your family a couple weeks ago. The last time we talked on Jake's show, I'm so blessed to hear that, man. I hope that you are feeling a lot better. I hope you're able to eat solid foods. You're learning everything that you need to do from a motor skill perspective, man. Johnny, what you went through is unbearable for a lot of people, and you certainly showed that you're a warrior. So I appreciate you for being here, man. Let me see. Tank for Ty arguing over, what is this now? Teams reached out to say it was a first-round pick. I don't know why you're giving an example of taking a third-round player in the first. Obviously, you wouldn't know. Nobody knows. Well, that's the thing. We don't know who the teams were that gave him the first-round grade. Could they be teams that don't need a quarterback? Could they be teams that aren't in the range to even get him at that spot? So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But I think at the end of the day, Ty Simpson's a first-round pick. Let's see. Ryu Ken says age does not matter for quarterback. I think of all the positions in the NFL outside of like kicker and punter and long snapper, yeah, quarterback is up there. Like it's an old man's game now. We're seeing it. Kirk Cousins was able to have, manageable success in Atlanta, coming in for Michael Penix. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a playoff quarterback for the Steelers by the right foot of Tyler Loop. So yeah, it's an old man's game. Matthew Stafford, who we just talked about before, like he's up there in age, but he's still doing it. So it's definitely becoming a mind over athleticism at the position, right? And you can definitely, the longevity at the position is just crazy. So being that he's 23, it hurts him from a perspective of he's 26 or 27 when he gets that real big second contract in the NFL. But in terms of, you can't take Ty Simpson because you have 3 less years on his career. Well, if you think he's going to be a 15-year player and play until he's 38 to 40 years old, then it doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, age to a point is not that important with quarterback. Tank says he won't go lower than 10. I mean, maybe. I don't know what the exact draft order is, but the Rams are not picking at 10. I think they're picking at 13. So if they want to do it, then yeah. But I mean, to say he's a guaranteed top 10 lock is just a little hard for me right now. Let's see what else we got. Beloved Peace. Simpson's supporting cast really let him down at times this season. Yeah, I was looking up Alabama's like PFF, like raw nerd stats. Last year, I believe they had 9 or 6 total drops on the season. And this year, PFF had them accounted for 30 drops. So I don't know how you 3.5x your drop output one season to another. But yeah, that's pretty damning for his supporting cast, considering it's a school like Alabama. Cisco, Ty better than Dart. That's probably the conversation. I think a lot of people will have Ty Simpson over Jackson Dart. I think if I was asked to rank, the top 3 guys compared to last year's quarterback class and the year before that with the 6 quarterbacks in the top 12, I would say Fernando, Dante, and Ty Simpson are probably. Well, that's not true because I was a huge Cam Ward fan coming out. Like I really wanted him number 1. I thought even coming out of Incarnate Ward, he was one of the better quarterbacks going into Washington State, and he only did better the more he progressed through better programs. So I wouldn't say maybe Fernando Mendoza is better than Cam Ward in terms of my rankings. I don't think I would have Dante Moore above Cam Ward, and I don't think I would have Ty Simpson ahead of Cam Ward, but I think I would have Moore and Simpson higher than Dart and Shuck, who were quarterbacks 2 and 3 in that class. So not necessarily like if Cam Ward was in this draft class, I think Cam would go first, then Mendoza, then Moore, then Simpson. So take that with you will. That's just my personal ranking. But yeah, I would say right now I have Ty Simpson ranked higher than where I had Dart at this time last year. And then Dart went to the Senior Bowl and raised his stock and became a first-round pick instead of a top 50 to 60 pick in the draft, right? He rose his stock up almost 40 selections, 35 selections. So Cisco saying Patrick Mahomes was not number 1 overall. No, he was not. He was number 10. And they traded up with Buffalo to do it. Give Ty a clean pocket, and he is phenomenal. I think the film definitely shows that for sure. Cisco says, how many QBs that do not play for the Jets can you say that? I need you to elaborate on that one. I apologize. It's also a 20-minute-old comment, so it's probably something completely irrelevant to what I was just saying. So I'm sorry for missing that one, but I need a little bit more elaboration on that one. Yeah, you asked this probably at the beginning of the film. Is Ty a smart quarterback? I think he's a very smart quarterback. Bill M says Ty will get picked, but who needs him the most? You could argue the Jets need him. If Dante Moore doesn't declare, the Jets would need him the most. You could argue that the Browns need him the most because they might not have, their quarterback solidified in Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders with a new head coach coming in. I guess who needs him the most is a pretty subjective question, but all the teams picking where, the top 6 or whatever it is that have a quarterback need, they're probably all going to need all of these guys the most. So probably danced around your question a little bit, but oh, here we go. Daniel, I missed these a couple minutes ago. Thank you so much. $2.99 from Daniel, or $1.99 from Daniel, excuse me. Assuming you could have any head coach, who would I pick? I mean, Sean McVay is number one. Obviously, I think he's probably the guy most people would say is number one. Shanahan, probably number two. Ben Johnson, probably number three. Vrabel's there. Maybe he's number four. And then who would round out my fifth? Maybe Sean Payton would be number five. And then Andy Reid would be number six. I think that's how I would do it. So I say McVay, Shanahan, Johnson, Vrabel, Payton, Reid. That would be my top six. Good question though. That's if I could have anybody, that's who I would pick. Now, I don't know if you're asking this in terms of the Jets' current situation, but of the quarterbacks that are out there right now, I would probably take McCarthy over Aaron Glenn. I would lean with Stefanski, obviously, and Cliff Kingsbury. It's more of a toss-up, but I would prefer him to come in as like a senior offensive mind. But yeah, that's if I had any pick of the litter, that's where I would go. Ooh, Daniel follows up with another 199 super chat. Thank you so much. You're our general manager. I am Dylan Muji. Yes, finally. Who's in our quarterback room when camp opens? At risk of having all 127 of you leave the building, and that's completely fine, I would have to say, if cut, Kyler Murray is my first choice. I think he's the easiest path to find competitive success in 2026. I'm not doing the Minshew stuff. I'm not doing the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff. I'm not doing any of those. We're not choosing our mid over again, right? And I know people will say that Kyler Murray is mid or maybe he's even trash, right? But if Kyler Murray is trash, the Jets are the landfill, right? Like they've had every version of trash you could possibly have. So I would say Kyler Murray would be my one, given that he's cut. My number two, and again, I would like him as the number two, not the starter, would be Marcus Mariota. Number three would be Dante Moore at the second overall pick. And then you have Brady Cook and maybe another day three UDFA type fighting it out for quarterback 4 in training camp and preseason. So appreciate the questions, Daniel. Thank you so much for the super chat. I certainly appreciate them. Boss Girl says, is he going to play in Senior Bowl or injury prevents him? Would love to see him behind a really good O-line. Yeah, I talked about it at the top. I would selfishly like to see him go to Mobile in a couple weeks. I'll be there with everybody's favorite draft Jets analyst, Dom C, as well as Jake Asman. We will be sharing an Airbnb for those 3 or 4 days down in Mobile. So selfishly, I would love to see Ty Simpson go there. The rib injury, it's probably the reason why he wouldn't. But I still would like to see him go down there and take part in the medical or the meetings portion of it with the teams where he gets that one-on-one time with front office members. Let's see. Eli Betts. I don't like him. That's fine. This video purpose was not to sell anybody on Ty Simpson. It was not to sway anybody off of Mendoza or more. It was simply to provide some context to his decision-making process and show the film, because I do think there is a chance that Ty Simpson could be the Jets quarterback. In one of my recent videos, I did like a mock offensive side of the ball off season where I added a couple pieces and Ty Simpson was the quarterback 3. Obviously, I picked really strong names to put in front of him, like Kyler Murray and Malik Willis. So that's probably completely unrealistic. But that's basically the point I was trying to get across was he's quarterback 3 with a buffer to not have to start right away. Oh, so you're just trolling. Oh, okay. All right, Eli. I fell for it. Glad to have you here, though, Eli. Yeah, the flag route. I think this is the end zone play you were talking about. I'd like to see him throw that. Or maybe it was the red line throw against the tight end that you want to see. Yeah, if you pull that trigger, that's fine. Some might call him conservative for that, but I think you're just reading out the play. And if your number one read is open in offense, they actually get more mad at you for turning it down. So a lot of times you see, oh, well, he had the big play over the top. Okay, but that's his second or third read. And in offense, the first read is designed to be open for you to hit him. And that's really all it comes down to. Tank for Ty. How many snaps under center did Mendoza take? How do we know if he can properly perform a 5 to 7 step drop? What if Mendoza is actually straight booty cheeks? That is all valid concerns. I think the under center play from quarterbacks at the college level is going away. They all love the pistol or the gun spread and the clap cadence, and they don't want to go through a green 80 said hut. Like, they don't want to do all that. So it's just easier to put them in the shotgun and go. I will have to get back to you once I look up how many snaps, but I don't think it's a ton. I don't think it's a ton at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if the number of like actual plays under center, like not counting like QB kneels and stuff like that, I think it would probably be under 50 for Mendoza. And again, I could be a little off on that one, but I do think it's a relatively low number. Cisco, I'm with you. I just want respectable quarterback play. Absolutely. That's really all we're looking for. Oh, the red line caught some people, JT and Eli. Yes, the red line, the infamous. Eli, I was going to include the down and distance in all of these, but the film that I have available to me, it will show you the scoreboard and the down and distance and everything like that, but it's a play behind. So I would be doing the play and then showing you the down and distance. It's a very confusing process, the way that the account that I use for film cuts it up. So unfortunately, I don't have the down and distances for all those plays, but for the future, I will make sure to write them down to provide more context. I appreciate that. That's definitely important. Dart has much better feet than Mendoza. It would not come as naturally. Ty is like a ballerina. His feet are so quick. Yeah, I mean, there's a case where Mendoza's footwork's not great, but I know in my Jeremy Bernard breakdown, there was a play from Ty Simpson where he just, I don't know what the heck happened with his footwork, but in the pocket, he just went and then threw it like 15 yards over Jeremy's head. It was pretty wild. And he was wide open over the middle. So, like, I wouldn't say his feet are much better. I think everybody has footwork that can be cleaned up. Eli Betts, how's his deep ball? I think it's there. He's got arm strength. He threw a rope, not a rope, but he threw a 62-yard air yard pass against South Carolina this year in one of the games that I watched. It was a drop, but that's definitely on the first film review, is the 62-yard uncorking of the ball. So he definitely has arm strength. Now the accuracy kind of gets away from him at the deeper portions of the field, but like I said, that happens a lot for most quarterbacks. Conservative passer, yeah. That, like I said, that's probably the buzzword that people use, that is a bit conservative. We also don't know what he's being coached to do. Cisco, I think I'm with you. I want him, but not at 2. I would rather trade up from 16, even if you're paying a little over to trade up from 16 to like pick 9 through 11, right? If that's the case, like if that's the range for him. Like, say you want to jump the Rams. I believe they're picking 13. If you get to 11 or 12 and you take Ty Simpson and it costs you like, I don't know, your Dallas second round pick, but you get back a third rounder or something like that, I would totally do that. I wouldn't risk taking him at 2. But again, if it's only a 2 quarterback class, you don't know how much you can risk not taking him at 2. So I get I get both sides of the coin, and that's why the NFL draft process is such a crapshoot. That's what's on Muji right now. That's the hardest job on Muji, is finding out what teams, like what quarterbacks at what spots, where does he have to go to position himself well to get a quarterback. Obviously, if Dante Moore declares and they love Moore and Mendoza, it's an easy decision and you don't have to overthink it. But if Moore doesn't, and it's just Simpson and Mendoza, and then the next best guy is like Nussmeier or Drew Aller, then yeah, you have to get not necessarily cute, because cute leads to missing a lot, but you have to be calculated aggression. That's the word I'll use to use Muji's term from the presser. Calculated aggression. Our guy Austin, shout out Austin, appreciate you tuning in. He says, "Yo, Dylan, what are your thoughts? It's nice seeing a QB go through progressions." Yeah, when we had the 32nd best quarterback room in the NFL last year with Fields, Taylor, and Brady Cook, yeah, I mean, everything from Ty Simpson is going to look so appealing because he brings you to like a league average or top 18 quarterback play at almost the worst situation. So yeah, going through a progression is crazy. Justin Fields teased us in week 1 with the progressions against Pittsburgh, and we never saw it again. Cisco says, hit the like button. Yes, absolutely, everybody. I appreciate it. All 134 members of you in the chat. He says it is free. It certainly is. And if you do want to send in any super chats, no pressure whatsoever. I just know that YouTube is going to flag my video and take all the money away that I make. So let's see what else. Cisco, I'm trying to find the best time in the off season to do a call-in show. I will say this. It's not going to be tonight, but I promise between now and the NFL draft, I will do at least one call-in show. I owe that to all of the great people who have supported me since May. I was very pushbacky on call-in shows, and there's a lot of different reasons behind that. I've seen what they do to other channels, not saying you guys are going to destroy my channel. I also just like having a little bit more control, and sometimes opening it up to the public allows for non-football opinions to come in, so to speak. So yes, we will have a call-in show. It's not going to be tonight, but I promise between now and the draft, we will have at least one call-in show. Cisco, if they get rid of Stafford, it's probably because he's going back to be a father, a husband, and a spectator of the NFL game. I don't think if he leaves Los Angeles, it's for anything other than retirement. He is 23 years old. He is not 25. He is 23. Johnny Boy with a question. Question for DT. Would you draft another quarterback in the later rounds, aka the Redskins scenario, RG3 and Cousins, but who would be the Cousins pick? Yeah, so they take Moore at 2. You take Garrett Nussmeier in the 4th round. I would not love that. Just trying to project where like some of these rounds would go, like where these quarterbacks might go and what rounds. There's a day 3 guy, maybe like a Luke Altmaier from Illinois, who will also be at the Senior Bowl. And honestly, guys, I'll just be completely transparent with you guys right now. I'm going to use a lot of Senior Bowl names when talking about these things because they're the people that I have the most exposure to. And while I'm not going to invoke a name that I have not watched completely or studied at all or whatever, I'm going to just kind of reuse some of these Senior Bowl names. So it's not a matter of only Senior Bowl guys I think should be drafted. It's just those are the guys I have the most knowledge on, so I will invoke those names more. But a Luke Altmaier on day 3, 100%. 100% give me that. Now, hopefully, we don't end up like the Redskins where RG3 had one really good year and then flamed out with injuries, and obviously Kirk Cousins became the guy. You don't hate it if that happens, but you don't love it if Dante Moore is a 1-year flash and then he gets hurt for the rest of his time in the NFL. But yeah, great question, Johnny boy. John Bogo, DT, you're one of the best to break it down. I certainly appreciate that. I will tell you I'm not. just being me and having a little bit of humility. I think Joe Blewett does a very good job at the film breakdown stuff. Robbie Sabo, a lot of the Jets X Factor guys. But if you're not looking for Jet specific film breakdowns, a lot of content I consume is JT O'Sullivan at the quarterback school, which is why I have more of an affinity for offense than defensive film. Chase Daniel does another good job with his film breakdowns, so I appreciate that. And there's definitely a lot of good film people out there, and I try to, just like when I sit up here and talk to you guys, I try to take a piece of their game and implement it into my own. Like the whole pen and tablet thing, that is completely JT O'Sullivan. I asked him directly, I said, what do you use to write on your screens? And he gave me a list of all his equipment, and I got the pieces I could afford. JT has a very good setup over there at the quarterback school, but I definitely appreciate that, John. Thank you so much. Johnny boy, absolutely, man. We gotta stick tight, man. We're all a family here in the Jets community. I know we love to fight and bicker like siblings at the Thanksgiving table, but it's all love, Johnny boy. I appreciate you, man. M123, thanks for the great content. I've learned a lot from you. Let's effing go Jets. Absolutely, man. Like I said, the corpse of the 2025 season is still warm. I don't even know if we've had a relative come and identify the body yet. I think they're just kind of letting it sit there for a couple days. But I'm not gonna sit here and just be completely off the Jets from an attitude standpoint. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna tell you all the ways that I think they can get better, and they'll only listen to about 5% of the things I have to say from the team's perspective. But I'm excited about this offseason. I think we've got a lot ahead of us, a lot to look forward to. It hasn't been great, obviously, but I'm excited. I appreciate you. M123. Is Anthony Richardson younger? I don't know. He might be like the same age. He might be. How good would Ty be if he was in Indiana? Well, you have the best coach in the country, so there's that. Probably the best defense in the country as well. I would say Ty Simpson would be the favorite, if not the winner of the Heisman Trophy, depending on what Fernando Mendoza does. Assuming it's like, Mendoza goes to Alabama. Yeah, you could definitely see the path where Ty Simpson stays healthy and wins the Heisman. Bill on Twitter, I appreciate you, Bill. He said Ty definitely had the worst supporting cast. Yeah, 100%. I would say Mendoza had the best one, then Dante Moore, then Ty Simpson of the three. I think the question, Boss Girl, was Dart coming out as a prospect. Whenever I compare a college prospect to somebody who's already in the NFL, it is never the NFL product of that quarterback. Like when I just said before, Ty Simpson reminds me of Daniel Jones. He reminds me of Duke Daniel Jones, not Giants Daniel Jones or Vikings sitting as QB3 Daniel Jones or Indianapolis Colts Daniel Jones. It's always going to be the college version of that quarterback. The most respected names that I trust in the draft industry do it that way as well. So that's how I operate. Was Simpson better than Dart coming out through the process? And I would say yes. Adirondack Fly Guy, D mother effing T. What's up? I appreciate you, man, for tuning in. Thank you so much. 138 of you guys in the room. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. I'm going to stick around for another 10 or 15 minutes and finish up any of these questions. I see we got a lot more questions rolling in, so I'm trying to keep up with them. I think I read the super chat first, but yes, I missed it right away. It didn't pop up. Oh shoot, here we go. Eli Betts 2 minutes ago, $10 Dollar super chat. Eli, thank you so much, man. This is greatly appreciated. He says, great work, DT. Grab a bucket of range balls to keep that swing loose. Dude, it's like you're reading my mind. So right now in my day job in construction, I'm pretty slow. Like they don't want us in their house between Christmas and New Year. And then like the week after New Year, they're pretty, tentative about having all this construction work done in their house. So I've been off work all week and I hate it. And I hate sitting in this house longer than I need to. Like I love just going out and being productive. So I've been door dashing at night, but I decided tonight I was going to do a live show instead of door dashing, hoping to make similar money, right? Like DoorDash is fine. It's like $50 a night. But I went golfing earlier today because I was going to do this around like 3-ish in the afternoon. I was going to do this exact thing, but I was like, you know what? Let me push it back to 6:30. It was like 60 something degrees out here in South Carolina. I was in my shorts and t-shirt out there getting loose. But yes, to your point, Eli, about the super chat, I went to the range first, then I played 9 holes, and then I took my 2 worst golf clubs and brought them back to the range and played more. So I appreciate that. That $9.99 super chat is going to go a long way to keeping the swing loose. Absolutely. Ty Simpson now is way better than Drake coming out of school. Drake May? Nah. No, Taylor. I don't know. I would vehemently disagree with this. I had Drake May very close to my number 1 quarterback in the year he came out. I had it Caleb 1, May 2, and then a bit of a gap, Jaden Daniels 3. I don't know if I could confidently say Ty Simpson is way better. I don't even know if he's better than Drake. I thought Drake coming out of North Carolina was so talented, right? I thought he was really special. I thought he was worth every bit of the top 3 pick that he became in that draft class. And I think what we saw from him this year with good coaching under Vrabel was more of what he was at North Carolina as opposed to the first year under Gerard Mayo. Like, I don't even remember who their OC was last year. That's how bad it was. I cannot remember. Yeah, Vrabel might be dead to a lot of us, but he's still a top 5 coach in the league, unfortunately. As much as we hate to say it and hate to watch it and hate to lose to it twice this year, that's unfortunately the realistic. Let's see what else we got. Ben Johnson is what we were getting with Gase, which makes sense. He's a Gase protege. Yeah, exactly. And people used that against Ben Johnson, which I think is hilarious. I used it in like a tongue-in-cheek manner when I knew that Ben Johnson was never going to come to the Jets. 1, because they didn't have a quarterback, and 2, they didn't have a path to the quarterback. Like the Bears already had Caleb in place. But yeah, it is funny to know that Ben Johnson is a Adam Gase disciple. The tree lives on with Adam Gase. Jimmy G would be a great New York signing. Maybe. I don't know, man. I can't get on board with the coaching staff and front office putting all their chips into the Jimmy G basket, knowing what we know about like the need for a sense of urgency and like actually trying to win now. It's really hard for me to say Jimmy G is like full confidence. Like I can't say that. Appreciate you, Cisco. He says, DT, you're doing great. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Oh, so you knew the answer. You were just testing me. Yeah, I figured it was low. Never taken a snap under center. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It might be the same for Dante Moore, or like Dante Moore's under 50. Moore at 2 or Simpson at 16. Who you choosing? I would like to say Moore, and then whoever they get at 16, whether it's like Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate. Shoot, I would even take like a Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, if you got Dante Moore. But I guess it would depend on who I got at 3, but I just don't love it. Like, are you taking Ruben Bain and then Ty Simpson? Maybe that moves the needle. I would just like to attack quarterback first, and if Moore is there, that would be my guy. Oof, this is a tough one. Is there any Hall of Fame worthy player at 2? Well, that's like you're already projecting like 20 years into the future, so it's really hard to say definitively. I will say a lot of the people who talk about this draft say you might get some starters, but there's probably not going to be a ton of Pro Bowlers at the top of this draft. And then obviously, somebody's going to go in the 4th or 5th round, like a Puka Nacua type, and just set the league on fire and make everybody have egg on their face. But I do think it's hard to say Hall of Fame worthy player at 2. Like if there was a generational player in this class, I don't know if there is one. I think Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, is the closest thing to like the best at his position in quite some time, right? So I think that would be the only one, but it's hard to say Hall of Fame. Jay Reeves in the chat, DT. Yes, with the lip emoji. Absolutely. Keep it on deck in case we ever got to talk about our guy, Aaron Rodgers. Keep the chapstick on deck. That's a little inside joke for me and Jay. If you don't understand, it's okay. See, I disagree with this. If you want to take him at 9, that's fine. But the gap between 9 and 2 in a class like this could be completely different, right? Like I'm not passing up on Arvell Reese or something like that at 2 to take him there and then risking at pick 9 nobody that you really love being there. So it's tough, but that's part of it. That's like you got to get cute and you got to take that calculated aggressive risk. So I see it. Our guy Dano, DT, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Is there any non-quarterback? Yeah, Arvell Reese, Ohio State. He's just a front 7 player. I'm not going to list him as an edge or an off ball. He does a little bit of both. Ruben Bain, totally think he's good there too. Worthy of the number 2 pick for the Jets. I don't think Jeremiah Love would be, but I saw him go 3 in a mock draft to the Arizona Cardinals. They missed out on the quarterbacks, and they got Jeremiah Love at 3. So I think there's definitely some players to invoke. Like I wouldn't even mind a wide receiver that high. Like if they took Jordan Tyson or Mekhi Lemon in the top 5, I wouldn't hate it. I don't love taking a wide receiver at 2 when you still need the quarterback. But yeah, there's definitely some players, and we'll get into them more as the draft gets closer. The only thing is, I don't want to spread myself out too far in terms of, oh, I want this player at number 2, but then there's also 18 other players at number 2 that I could see them taking, right? I don't want to do that, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one specific position or player. Now, with the quarterback need for this team, it is a little bit easier to pigeonhole yourself into quarterback, but I'm trying not to do that, at least so far in this situation. Whoa, Daniel Lake with a $20 super chat. Take the night off from dashing and find us a damn QB, bro. Ha ha ha. Jokes aside, thank you for all the hard work and content. Daniel, thank you so much. This is incredibly appreciative. All of your super chats, all 3 of them, and Eli's as well. Like that is amazing. That would have been about 3 DoorDash trips potentially, right? DoorDash isn't always the best in terms of money, but they do either daily or weekly payouts. So it was just some quick cash to get money coming in. But damn, dude, this is incredible. Thank you so much. Like I sincerely appreciate everything, and I am staying up as late as I can in my old age of 30 to find us a quarterback. I promise. I promise I'm trying to do everything I can to find us a quarterback. And I will yell it from the rooftops until Darren Muji listens to me. I promise. Yeah, like Grenade. I mean, I am certainly an observer of things that go on in this world. I don't have the I don't know what the word is. I don't have the bravado of some of your other favorite Jets YouTube content creators to be able to handle a room full of callers. Just being completely honest with you. I would love to do it one day, and I will between now and the draft. I don't know if that's going to be my regular thing. Dano, the Oregon guy, believe in Dante, baby. Yeah, I am a believer. He is closer to my quarterback 1 than he would be to my quarterback 3. I almost have him as a 1B at this point. Bill M is a good way to think about it. If Moore stays in, Ty moves up. If he enters the draft, Ty moves down. I think that's a very, surface level, easy way to look at it, right? Dante Moore is probably going to be regarded higher than Ty Simpson on most people's boards. So that would be the domino effect of it. Now, Ty Simpson does a good job of getting out ahead of it because now that he's declared and, the deadline for players that make the college football national championship is the 23rd. So you're giving yourself a 16-day head start for evaluators to get on board with you as their pick for their team. And I think it's a smart move for Ty Simpson. Obviously, if he is guaranteed a first round pick, that's what it all comes down to. Did the GMs they talked to, was it Darren Muji, right? Was Darren Muji given Jay Simpson and Ty Simpson a first round grade when they talked to them? Like, was it John Spytek of the Raiders, right? So we'll definitely see what happens there, but I would be shocked if he is not a first round pick. Like Grenade, JT O'Sullivan is the GOAT of film breakdowns. Absolutely. I've learned, I couldn't even begin to tell you how much I've learned from JT, how many notebooks full of drawings and verbiage and things of that nature that I've written over the years for JT. Like, I got into this draft stuff, like evaluating prospects in 2019, but that's not to say, oh, wow, yeah, I had a 100 player big board in 2019. No, my big board was probably like 15 players, and I watched them so intently and tried to do my best deep and evaluation on those 15 players. And a lot of them were like the Quinn Williams of the world, like the guys that we knew were going to be in that Jets range there in that third overall pick. But I've done so many more years of research and learning and watching film clinics and other film breakdown guys to at least provide myself with enough knowledge to start the process. Like, you can't just jump into it and be like, I know what I'm watching on film. Let's get to it. Like, it's not that easy. There's some people that pick it up very naturally, and I think Joe Blewett would tell you the same thing. If you can get your hands on some clinics, like some offensive line clinics. I remember when they hired Rob Saleh, I went back and I watched the John Ben O-line clinic and learned so much about their wide zone scheme and what they wanted to run and what players fit their mold and things of that. So it's definitely it's a lengthy process, but if you're dedicated to it, you certainly can succeed. Gary King says, I hope more enter so our chances of drafting Mendoza go up. Yeah, absolutely. If the Raiders fall in love with a Dante Moore type, then yeah, that'd be fantastic because a lot of people like Mendoza more than Dante, for sure. The Film Guy Network does a phenomenal job as well breaking down SEC football. Okay, I'm writing that down right now. The Film Guy Network. Okay, I'm assuming that's a YouTube show, Tank for Ty, but yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Always looking for more input because the one thing everybody will always tell you is they don't know what they're being coached in that room specifically. And there's a lot to kind of fill in the blanks of the gray area. And that's the really hard part of watching film, is trying to guess what they're supposed to be doing when you have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. You would think you know what they're supposed to be doing, right? Like that spot concept, that route concept in the red zone. I think that they read it 1 to 2 to 3. Maybe they read it 1 to 2 to 3 and they go low to high, or, they go inside out or outside in. Like, there's so many different ways that they coach plays that I feel like that's where the gray area comes in. But that's why I love everybody's opinion on it. Chris B. Hey, Dylan, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Go Jets. Love you all. Like, support, subscribe to the channel. Terrific Jets content. A+ every time. I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you so much. The most positive fan I think I've ever met in this chat community across all YouTube platform, everybody's YouTube channel. Chris B, certainly the most optimistic. Thank you so much, man. Let's see what else we got. We're almost at an hour 40, so we're going to wrap it up somewhat soon. Okay, I see another super chat in here. Whoa, Anthony Logerato. Holy crap. This is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Anthony, thank you so much. Dylan, you're doing a great job. Love the channel and the content. Thank you. That means a ton. I think we've officially eclipsed the money I would have made doing a DoorDash run or shift tonight. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for supporting. Again, I hate asking you guys for your hard-earned money because I do make some money on YouTube. It's not a lot, but this is more than appreciative, man. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Anthony. Let's see what else we got. Getting down to the bottom here. Cisco, I see you leaving. I appreciate you, man. I don't have a Discord or a schedule. Again, I'm trying to work it all out. I'm doing a lot of this on the fly, trying to juggle a couple jobs and the content. This off season, that's one of my goals, is to create a schedule. So if you're listening, I know you've probably already left, but if you're watching it back and listening, I'm trying to develop a good schedule, and I'm trying to pick a night. I know Buffalo and I alternate Mondays when he's available, and I'm looking at maybe Tuesday or Wednesday night to do live content similar to this fashion, whether it's Draft Talk with DT or DTereman football show, whatever the topical news is, Jets or draft related. So yeah, I'm trying to find a day to do this. Obviously, I'm on with Jake on Thursdays. So Buffalo Mondays, Jake on Thursdays, leaves me Tuesday and Wednesday to try to do some content. And there will certainly be more live stuff coming. I mean, we're already at an hour and 40. Like I did not anticipate doing 100 minutes on Ty Simpson, but you guys are just incredible. So I have to keep it going for you guys. Whoa, and they don't stop. Kyle Clifton, I was just about to get to your regular chat, but we got to cut the line. The super chat, $10 super chat from Kyle Clifton. I think you take Bain at 2 unless the QB Mooj loves is there. Then just take the highest rated guy available in the first 2 days. Yes, if Mooj does not love Ty Simpson and Dante Moore goes back to school and Mendoza's not on the board, please don't force it. Please don't force it, Mooj. Like, I think enough Jets fans like Darren Muji enough where he might be safe with some of the moves he's made as opposed to Aaron Glenn. But yeah, I think skipping the quarterback class is much easier of a pill to swallow than getting it wrong, right? That's as simple as I can put it. If you love Dante Moore and he's not there, don't force Ty Simpson. That's basically what it comes down to. And I would love Ruben Bain. I was very much of the let's go get Jared Verse when he was coming out of Florida State, but obviously I knew they were going to take a tackle. I believe that was the Fashion New Year. So I was all over Jared Verse, and I've been like, hey, let's go get another edge guy ever since. So yeah, Ruben Bain, I don't care that his arms are short. Show me the play on film where he loses because his arms are short, and then we can have the discussion. But right now, Bain is a game wrecker. Him and Akeem Mesidor, his tag team partner across on the D line, man, they get after it, and I'm excited to see how they can try to disrupt Trinidad Chambliss tomorrow. So thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much for that. Oh, Jets Rube, I'm sorry. You know what? I do have your contact information. I will certainly try to alert you of the next live DT production, whether it's Jets related, draft related. I appreciate you, Jets Rube. You're one of my favorite people to chop it up with in Tampa Bay in week 3. I know we had a good smoke and debate sesh outside the meetup there. So yeah, I will definitely fill you in more, and I appreciate you tuning in even if it was late. Whoa, we're not done yet. Light Grenade with a $10 super chat. Skip the DoorDash another night if possible. It's not about the great analysis, which it is. You're a good dude. You and Joe B are top Jets film guys. Fight me about it. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Hey, maybe, we keep going a little bit longer. We can get enough money to not have to DoorDash. I won't be doing it tomorrow. No, I am doing it tomorrow. But Friday night, I'm not doing it as long. I'm only doing a 2-hour shift on Friday because I want to get home for the game. Like, it's okay if I miss the beginning of Miami Ole Miss, right? I'm okay missing a little bit of Carson Beck versus Trinidad Chambliss, but I will be seated on the couch right over there at 7:30 on Friday with my feet popped up, probably a fresh bowl packed, ready to watch Fernando Mendoza versus Dante Moore Part 2. Hey, Jets Rube back again with another 199. Keep the show up, so no dashing this week. That's the goal, and I'm glad that you guys vindicated me in my decision-making process to do a live show tonight. And I wasn't only making my decision based on money. I was just saying to myself earlier today that I could miss out on a little bit of DoorDash money to bring the great people a live draft talk with DT. And we got Nate in the chat. Nate on the e-bike. It's probably a little too cold for you to e-bike now, right? And oh, you got ice and snow and stuff up there in New York. I don't know what any of that stuff is down here. It was 60 degrees. I was in shorts and a t-shirt playing golf today, so I can't get on that same page of the cold weather, Nate. So I hope you're bundled up on your e-bike. But he says more live streams. Happy New Year. Looking forward to draft season with you. Yeah, man, I'm so excited. Last year I didn't have my channel at this time. I made my own channel in May. I separated from Jet Nation right after the draft. Obviously, a lot of you guys caught me on with Jake doing day 2 of the NFL draft, and I knew that this year I needed the full off season of full control of my content and getting ready for the draft. So I am so excited for this, and I'm very appreciative for everybody who's along on the way. There will be disagreements. I will not fight you over your opinions. I will tell you where I disagree, but that's my favorite part of the off season is the draft, because you can go down all these hypothetical paths, and even if they seem unrealistic, like, you can't rule it out because it's the draft and anything crazy can happen. Like Jamarcus Russell at number 1 to the Raiders. Like, could you imagine if the Raiders took Ty Simpson, right? I know Tank for Ty would probably be really happy for his guy. I don't even know if he's a Jets fan, to be completely honest. He might just be an Alabama fan. He's probably a Jets fan too. But what if the Raiders took Ty Simpson at 1? Like, that would just be so crazy, but like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Boss Girl, if we get QB and some other draft picks right and have a respectful season, imagine how much fun 2027 will be. Yeah, 100%. Like, if you can get to like 6-6, that has been the benchmark for me. Like, through 12 games entering December, please, like, don't be out of it by Thanksgiving. Don't start 1-5, 2-6, whatever the record is. Like, just start somewhat fast. Look like an NFL team in the month of September and October, and I think you have a really good path. Now, you can streamline this offseason and rebuild in an expedited process by hitting the quarterback and hitting on your other 3 top 45 picks. And you can really turn it around so fast, and that's part of the reason why I fall in love with this part of the process. The season's done, the team building can start, and there's infinite permutations on how you can fix this team, and I think that's what makes it the most exciting. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I totally get that. Everybody loves what they love about football, right? If you want to tune in just from September to December or January, right? And that's really all you care about is the regular season, that's all well and good. But I like to fill in the other, 8 or 9 months with ways that I can make my team better. And that's what I love to do. Eli, is Ty Simpson the kind of winner AG is talking about? Maybe. I mean, it depends. I feel like when you say you want winners and you go get Justin Fields, who's pretty ass already, it's hard to say like what you actually want in a winner. I do think I do believe that if Dante Moore declares, you will start hearing this team, because they're in a position to lock in their guy at number 2. We'll start telling you a little bit more about what they want. Right now, they're not going to show you their whole ass. Like, it's not going to happen. They're not going to bend over and show you their whole ass and reveal all your plans, because Jonathan 24876 on Twitter wanted to know their entire plans. Like, it's just not happening. As much as we would love it, it's not happening. Coming from a naked guy, I don't know how I feel about you made my hump night. I think that's something you gotta settle out with the misses there, Charleston Jetsrue. But I always appreciate you tuning in, man. Yeah, Joe does have Ty number 1, and then I believe he has Mendoza 2, and then Moore 3. So he just has Ty Simpson jump to the front of the line. That's completely fine. I think Joe does a good job of breaking down not only the positive plays of Ty Simpson, but the negative ones. I know he broke down that first play I showed you guys where he scrambled to his left and Ryan Williams fell down, but it's all important parts of the process. If you just sit there and box score watch, it's just an incomplete pass for Ty Simpson, but he did everything he could on that type of play to be successful for the team. Boss Girl, from what you know, DT, do Moore and Simpson have that almost cocky confidence and natural leadership that we see in Dart? A definite leader is really important. Simpson, yeah, I think the way that he is viewed by his teammates and like what you see from like him in the locker room and how players and teammates respond to Ty Simpson, I definitely think that he is a leader. It's different, right? Than like Jackson Dart is in your face, oozing with confidence, can still back it up with his play when he's not in the blue medical tent. Like there's definitely a little bit more of a in your face confidence, almost cockiness with Jackson Dart. Whereas I think with Simpson, Moore, and even Mendoza, it's more of like a humble confidence or humble cockiness in a way. I know that's kind of contradicting, but I would definitely say Moore and Simpson are certainly leaders of their team. The way Dante talked about at the presser, he was asked him versus Mendoza specifically, and he was like, look, that's all well and good. I'm glad that you guys want to talk about that. He's like, but the longer I think about things like that, I'm putting my 10 players on the field with me at a disadvantage because now it's about me and not about the 11 men on the field. And non-quarterback players, they rally to that type of stuff. So I do think there is an element of leadership with all the guys. And obviously Mendoza is a leader. Like he's corny as hell, but like he's a leader for sure. Let's see. A couple more. We'll get out of here. We're approaching the 2-hour mark. Wow. Time flies when we're all having fun here, Jets fans. I can't even assume that everybody's Jets fans because this is a draft show. So if you are not a Jets fan, 1, identify yourself and tell me what team you like. And 2, thank you for being here because this is a predominantly Jets channel. But hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in because you can get something out of this if you're a Raiders fan or a Cardinals fan or a Browns fan or anybody. Really, you can certainly gain something from being here. I think I think they will overthink Ruben Bain. They're going to try to outsmart themselves with Ruben Bain, and he's going to end up being a goddamn phenomenal player, in my opinion. AG needs to learn from DT, man. If there was anything I could tell AG where he would feel like he's a smarter man coming out of that room, that would make my day. I think these guys are, in a football sense, very smart people. So for somebody like me, a little dopey stoner boy with three monitors in South Carolina, if I could teach these guys anything, that would be fantastic. Oh no, somebody ratted me out to Kev. We got our guy Buffalo Jet fan BJF in the chat, and now he just hacked my webcam and made me all blurry. Ty Simpson is Mitch Trubisky if he were raised by pigeons. So the first thing I immediately think of when I see this raised by pigeons part is I think of the homeless woman in Home Alone. Like, is that Ty Simpson just standing there around all those pigeons? Man, you really messed up my webcam. How dare you? Kev, I appreciate you tuning in. And I don't know if you heard my shuck rule, but I think we both have a shuck rule for the off season here, or shug rule, as you love to call it. Mike D says, DT, who is your actual number one best player in this entire draft? Better yet, top 5, just in general, best players, not who you want for the Jets. I think Bain is in that conversation. I don't have them listed like 1 through 5, so I'll just give you some names. I think Ruben Bain is in that list. Jeremiah Love is in that list. Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Fernando Mendoza. Those would probably be the top guys. And I'm not putting Fernando at 1 just because he's a quarterback. I would probably put him closer to 5. Kyle says, you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. Ruben Bain in The Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely. Ole Miss quarterback is my dream guy. Yeah, Chambliss. I mean, we probably have to wait 1 more year on Chambliss. Looks like he's committed to going back to Ole Miss as long as his waiver goes through. Bill M. Yes, this is the vibes on Friday on the couch. Indica vibes Friday. Yeah, Cisco, there is membership here. The one thing I will say is I have severely been lacking on it. I've not put a lot of content at all on the membership tier. That's why I don't necessarily promote it as much. If people do want to become a member, they can. I will be putting more draft breakdowns, film-related breakdowns on that channel or on the membership tier because I certainly appreciate all the A1s since day one. But I knew coming into this YouTube endeavor, I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver, and I think that that's an area where I have, just being completely, self-reflective. So for those who are still members, I certainly appreciate you. But yeah, it's definitely one thing where I've been lacking for sure. Let's see what else we got. Anthony, yes, it would be very boring if we all agreed on everything. It certainly would. The echo chamber is always loud. And I try to take a step out of it sometimes. I certainly have takes that are definitely more consensus, but I try to stay out of the echo chamber. Okay, you are a diehard Jets fan. Okay, well then, a small part of me wants you to be happy that Ty Simpson is a Jet, and that's what I'll root for, but I still don't think it's worth it at 2. Let's see what else we got. We're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I am going to hop off here. Billy, no, we do not have Harbaugh yet. We are not going to have Harbaugh. We'll be lucky if Harbaugh is a Giants head coach. I would prefer that than the Dolphins. 100% would. I do not have a Discord either, Cisco. I'm not the guy who's probably going to make a Discord. I understand a lot of people like to get their thoughts off in Discord. I just can't. I'm so out on Twitter right now. Like I hate that I have to use it as much as I do. But I can't pick up another social media platform. I'm in like Jake's Discord. I'm in the Badlands Discord. I'm in the NFL Stock Exchange Discord. I'm in Nick Shine's Discord. I'm in all those, but I don't pay attention to it. So I don't want to make my own. I will say this: if I might scratch the YouTube memberships and make a Patreon because they don't block the content that you put out, film related stuff. So there's definitely a good chance of a Patreon down the pike. Let's see. Okay, we're getting down to the bottom here. Gary, this is definitely true. People see one game and think Chambliss is the next Mahomes. I did get a ton of text messages during that game. It's like the guy walking with his girlfriend meme. It's like the guy is the Jets or Jets fans. The girl whose hand he's holding is Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza. And then he's looking back at any other quarterback that has one good game in college football. But that's, we're Jets fans. We want to, we're desperate for any semblance of good quarterback play, especially. Junio Rudy, appreciate you, man. He says, hit the like and subscribe. Certainly 154 of you in the room. We are closing up shop in a couple minutes, but I do appreciate everybody. Yeah, I'm on Discord. Like, you can hit me up on Discord. I will answer. I do not have a Discord like channel. I don't have my own separate DT Discord. I'm just in those Discords. So you can add me as a friend and talk to me there if you don't have like a Twitter or an Instagram to direct message me on. That's what that's about. Mission complete, Grenade. Absolutely. Go spark it up. Should be a little Xbox logo under you. Analysis of QB completed. I have hit the achievement, right? I got my daily reward. Not a ton of games being played on this end anymore. I used to be an Xbox kid. I have an Xbox. I'm like literally looking at it right here. I don't really play it much anymore, but yeah, that's funny. Mission complete. Give me the achievement. My gamer score is up. Oof. Cause. Come on, man. We really drafted Zach Wilson in that stacked class. Oh, it was awful. That offseason was awful, and I hope this one is a lot better than the one that led us to Zach Wilson. Hell yeah, Billy. I have somewhat of this feeling. Admittedly, it is completely blind, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having blind faith, right? I feel like if you're going to put blind faith anywhere on this Jets franchise, it's got to be with AG and Mooj, right? It's definitely not with Woody Johnson. Like, Woody Johnson is not waking up, turning on DT's YouTube channel, listening to the things I have to say and impulsively making a decision. So my blind faith sits with AG and Mooj. I think Mooj is a good talent evaluator. I think AG, he got special teams right and the run game improved. I want to see way, way, way more from him, but I put my blind faith in Mooj and AG more than I would ever put it into Robert Wood Johnson. All right. With that, 2 hours and 2 minutes. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate every single person who tuned in, all of the super chats, Daniel, Kyle, Eli, Anthony, Jets Rube, Nate, Grenade, every single person. I appreciate you all. This is going to wrap up episode 6 of Draft Talk with DT, the longest episode that we have done. Yeah, you know what? Brick might be listening, boss girl. You're right. Brick might be listening. And if that's the case, listen up, buddy. No, don't listen to me. If Brick is listening, stop doing football things. That's what I would have to say to Brick. Stop getting involved in the conversation. But yes, Julius says it. Smack the thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate all of your support. I will be back on the feed, probably some pre-recorded stuff. I will definitely be going over Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore, doing a preview for that game, as well as a film breakdown next week for the quarterback that loses that game. If it's Dante Moore, you're getting all Dante Moore film on his playoff bracket. If it's Mendoza, you're getting Mendoza film from the Alabama and Oregon games. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a fantastic episode of Draft Talk with DT. Signing out saying, let's go Jets, and happy drafting, guys. Take care.